Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. It's good to be back with you on our Wednesday Facebook Live or Instagram Live or wherever you're listening from. Let me know where you're listening from. Put in the chat where you are joining from, and also if you have any questions whatsoever as we go through. So, quick question for you today. Have you ever felt like something is off, but all the tests come back normal? Maybe you've been told it was just stress, or even worse, maybe you were told it was all in your head, right? Have you experienced that? Today I want to share something really fascinating with you about why this happens to so many people. And I see them all the time. They come to me in my practice. I have been to the doctor, all my tests are normal, but I still feel lousy. And they can't figure it out, and their doctors can't figure it out. And so sometimes I'm the last resort, which I wish sometimes I was the first resort, but hey, I'll take last resort because then we get answers and we start to change things around. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sarah. Sarah's story is a really great example of understanding chronic illness and the connection between mold and parasites and why people stay sick even after treatment. Now, obviously, Sarah is a fictitious name, but this is a real patient, and I changed the name for the sake of privacy. But Sarah was a 34-year-old executive who went from literally running half marathons to barely being able to climb stairs within 6 months. The fascinating part is that every single test that was run by her doctor came back normal. All right, so this is where it gets interesting. And I started to work with Sarah at this point. After a small flood in her office, they found black mold behind the walls. But that wasn't the whole story. That mold actually started to colonize in her body, and it created the perfect environment for parasites to thrive. And it's a connection that most doctors never look for. And this is where Sarah walks in to me. And we begin the journey of addressing mold and addressing parasites in a very orderly manner so that she can start feeling better. I'm happy to report she's back running half marathons and feeling better than ever. Hey, Ellie, good to have you here this week. I'm glad that you were watching from Iowa. That is where I live, in Iowa as well. So it's beautiful here. All right, so drop a heart. Let's just have some fun. Drop a heart in the comments if you or someone you know has ever dealt with any kind of unexplained health issues. Maybe you went, or this person went to the doctor, all the tests came back normal, but they still didn't feel good. Put a heart in the comments and let me know if that's you or you know of somebody. Okay, so let's talk a minute about the hidden connection there between mold and parasites, because I don't think it's something that most people realize. Mold just doesn't affect you when you're exposed to it. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Mold just doesn't affect you when you're exposed to it. It can actually colonize in your body and create issues, bigger issues, as time moves on. And so some of the places that it colonizes are places like your sinuses, in your gut, your respiratory system. So if you have unexplained gut issues, it could be mold. If you have unexplained respiratory issues, it could be mold. If you have unexplained sinus issues, it could be mold. All right. Now I'm going to switch and talk about parasites a minute. I see your little heart, Ellie. Thanks for playing along in the comments. So I want to talk about parasites because the fascinating part here is that when this happens, when mold colonizes in the body, it actually creates the perfect environment for parasites. And now we have a cascade because those parasites love to soak up that mold, and so they're more toxic. You have mold colonizing in the body, so it's toxic. We're not going to talk about biofilms today, but they come in creeping in and they kind of keep your immune system. They build up in the body and they keep the immune system from being able to attack it. So you have this like perfect storm of chaos and chronic illness. Is it you? Somebody you know? Okay. So the CDC estimates, because if you're kind of doubting whether or not there's parasites, I do want to say a couple things. First, I'll say this. I understand how you feel because I remember the very first time I heard somebody say that my chronic illness that I had, that I struggled with as part of my health journey, may be parasitic related. And I remember thinking, there's no way. I borderline germaphobe here. There's no way. The truth is that very much was the root of my chronic health issues. And the first time I pooped a parasite, I was shocked. I was both at the same time freaked out and kind of excited. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it was a real thing. Okay, so that was my personal experience. But I also work with patients, hundreds of patients. And of those hundreds of patients, there has been a lot of parasites visibly passed. I love getting that call, as a matter of fact. You're not going to believe what I just pooped out. And oftentimes, we do the parasite happy dance together because it's the big deal to me. Those little buggers are toxic and they're keeping you sick. So we got to get them out. Elias, welcome. You're watching from Oklahoma. I'm glad you're here. All right. So the CDC estimates that there's millions of Americans who have parasitic infections. And we can look around. Toxoplasma gondii is a very common parasite that you can get. You can pick that up through cat litter boxes and water. That 30 to 50% of people are estimated to have Toxoplasma gondii, but probably asymptomatic, not having a lot of symptoms from it. 240 million people annually get malaria. What is malaria? Malaria is a parasite, right? It's a protozoan parasite, so it's not visible by the eye. We can only see that through a microscope. So they're there. We just don't always hear about them from traditional medicine docs, especially. And sometimes you want to be a little skeptical about them. Parasites, I get it, but they're there and they're real. They're very real. And if you're dealing with chronic illness, you probably have them too. I like to say, actually, we all have parasites. If you have a pulse, like you can feel your pulse right here. If you have a pulse, you have a parasite. It's just whether or not they're making you sick, right? Okay, so here's a tip. A lot of people maybe don't know, but if your symptoms, whatever you're dealing with, if your symptoms get worse around a full moon, that's actually a huge clue that parasites might be involved in what's keeping you ill. It's not folklore, it's actually biology. So if that's you, then you want to be reaching out, okay? So why are we seeing these problems worse now more than ever? What is going on? And I actually believe I like to call it the modern perfect storm, because there's three major things that have changed now. The first is our buildings and what we live in, what we work in. they're way more energy efficient and they're less breathable. So indoors needs to breathe. We need fresh air coming in. We need toxic air going out. And they're so tight, energy efficient, tight, that what happens is that it's like us living in a plastic bag versus a paper bag, right? Nothing can get out of it. No air can move out of it. And so things like humidity, our humidity tends to actually rise. And so a little clue here is to keep mold at bay, you want to check the humidity level in your home, making sure it's between 30 and 50%. If it's too high, then you have more chances of mold growing in your home. And if it's too low, actually, believe it or not, mold can grow then too. The second thing is our environment. We now have more toxins than ever in our environment. It is astounding how many toxins we come into contact with every single day. I mean, think about it, from food packaging to body care to soaps to, just all around us, things that you breathe in. So we are taking in more and more toxins all the time. And that is hard on our bodies. And toxins feed those parasites. They can lower the immune system, allowing the mold to actually be able to colonize as well. We also have huge compromised food quality. It's part of what's going on right now. I saw a young mom carrying a box of Trix under her arm the other day at the grocery store, and I just wanted to run to her and say, no, don't feed your children that. There's so many food dyes in there that's just going to affect them neurologically. Not to mention the sugar content that's going to lower their immune system, so they can't fight off the colds that are going around and yada yada. So our food quality is so compromised. In a little bit, I will talk about certain foods that actually can help protect you. So not all foods, but many foods, right? And how about our lifestyle? We spend more time indoors now than ever in history. That's startling. We're not getting outside. We're not grounding in the grass and on the ground, and we're not getting the sunlight and the goodness of nature that comes all around us. That really is hard on our immune system. Our immune systems are, because of that, because of these things, they're facing unprecedented changes. And so it's no wonder that many of us are doing everything we can do just to stay above water with our health, right? So type info in the comments if you want me to share my top protective foods that most of you have in your kitchen. All right, so let me know if you want to hear those, and I will share those with you. I don't want to paint this picture that it's all doom and gloom. My whole purpose is to educate, to bring awareness to what's going on around you, to these toxins that are around you, to some of these chronic illnesses that you may have that you cannot figure out, and what they could be, because it's in that awareness that we're able to make those changes. I don't expect that any one of us is going to be able to live a 100% toxin-free life. But what we can do is we can know how to make choices about what's better or best for our bodies, right? I see that Deb has joined us. Hey, Deb, welcome. And Ellie, you both typed info. Okay, so I'm going to share some things you probably have in your home right now that actually you can add into your daily life that are protective foods. Number one, my number one favorite is garlic. All right, garlic contains allicin, and allicin is a compound that has some natural antimicrobial properties to it. So, And studies show across the board it helps with parasites, to fight off parasites, to fight off bacteria, to fight off fungi. So these are all the things that we're talking about today. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It has immune boosting properties. It is most effective when you crush it or when you chop it. So, crushing it or chopping it and adding it into your food is the best way to go. Okay, second thing, pumpkin seeds. So easy. You can go anywhere and get pumpkin seeds, which is also kind of, you got to be cautious because you do want to really get organic pumpkin seeds, and you want to get non-roasted. Okay, so Costco has some great pumpkin seeds you can pick up there. But pumpkin seeds they have anti-parasitic properties to them as well. So just a little bit of pumpkin seed, like a handful of pumpkin seed a day is perfect. Not only that, it's giving you that added zinc that you need, especially during this time of the year to help support your immune function. They actually contain some fatty acids in them so that it can help with our digestive health. So awesome. Pumpkin seeds are awesome, something you can easily do right away in the day, so you don't forget. Just grab your pumpkin seeds. Okay, the third top thing that I'm going to tell you about that you probably have is coconut, and especially coconut oil, right? Most of us have coconut oil in our homes, but coconut oil contains what's called MCT, which are medium chain triglycerides, and those have antimicrobial properties in them. So that means that it's going to help fight off that colonization of mold in the body and help to cut down on the microbes, the bad bacteria and whatnot in the body. It's also very protective against various different pathogens. So adding that coconut oil is great. I'll tell you, one of my favorite snacks is to make popcorn on the stove with coconut oil. I mean, I think most of us grew up using like a vegetable oil or peanut oil or something like that. Don't do that. That just causes inflammation in your body unnecessarily. You don't need to do that, but add coconut oil in there and then salt it with some really good pink Himalayan salt. That's just perfect. Perfect little healthy snack for you. All right, I also want to note turmeric. Turmeric is fantastic, very anti-inflammatory. So if you struggle with some headaches, or ladies, if you have menstrual cramps, go for turmeric before you go for Tylenol. All right, Tylenol depletes glutathione in your body. So I get it. Sometimes we need the Tylenol, but don't make it your first go-to. Maybe grab some turmeric instead. Ginger is also very great to add. It's very antimicrobial. I love a ginger tea. It also really helps with that digestion. For those of us that are getting older and our digestion is getting a little weaker, adding a cup of hot ginger tea at your mealtime is fantastic. And then oregano. Oregano is got some natural antimicrobial compounds in it as well. So really just keeping those spices, the turmeric and the oregano, maybe some ginger, all near you as you're cooking. Cook in coconut oil, add some garlic. How can you go wrong? You're so protecting your body with those foods, and you can make many, many different recipes at the same time in doing that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, I want to give you some quick action steps as well. I want to give you 2 immediate things that you can do today so that you can start to impact your health and cut down on your exposure to mold and help you feel better. Okay, first thing, check your bedroom. In the bedroom, you spend a lot of time in your bedroom, right? Hopefully at least 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep. All right, that's our goal. Probably another topic for another time, but 7 to 8 hours of deep sleep. You really do want to remove any dust collectors in the bedroom. Now, why? What does dust have to do with mold and keeping me healthy. So dust actually collects, is a magnet for mycotoxins, which is what mold spores give off. All right. And so the more dust you have, the more mycotoxin or higher percentage of mold you have around you. So if you haven't cleaned under your bed in a while, you probably want to do that. If you haven't cleaned the backboard in a while, you probably want to do that. Move your furniture around. It's a real thing, my friends. So, and we spend a lot of time there. For some of us, the most time out of anywhere. So check your bedroom, and then also consider an air purifier in your bedroom. Even if you have one throughout your house, having an additional air purifier is really recommended in the bedroom. And why is that? Well, because you're giving off carbon monoxide. And if you sleep in a closed door bedroom, which is recommended, fire safety, all that, that buildup of carbon monoxide can get pretty heavy in the room. And so it can actually impair the way that you sleep, your brain function, just your body systems and all of that. Not only to mention, helps to cut down on the bacteria and the molds that are all traveling around the bedroom. So those are my two things: bedroom check, dust, and air purifier. Now, second thing, to help you feel really good and get your day off to a great start, this is what I call a morning hack. It can make a huge difference. In the morning, drink 8 to 12 ounces of water, not cold water, but room temp water, warm water with electrolytes in it. And jumpstart your body, jumpstart your organs, get them going. You wake up dehydrated. So by putting that fluid right back in your body right away before you drink coffee or anything like that, put the electrolytes into your body, get your organs up and running, give them a good old charge, and replenish the hydration that you lost throughout the night. That can make a world of difference everywhere in the body. Your joints, your head, your skin, everything. And at least you start off with one good solid cup, glass, 12 ounces of water during the day. All right, who's ready to try these things tomorrow? Drop a star, or say me, or thumbs up, or whatever you want in the comments. Just let me know who's ready to start some of these things. And you don't even have to wait till tomorrow. You can go check your bedroom after we're done here today. All right, so I barely scratched the surface on really what I think is a very fascinating topic, and which is the connection between mold and parasites. And if you want to learn more, this coming Monday night, I'm actually going to go live at 6 p.m. Central Time. So that's Monday, November 18 at 6 p.m. Central Time. And I'm going to give a little class on the connection between mold and parasites and your gut health. And so I want to join you, or I want to invite you to join me live for that class. I'm going to give a complete blueprint of identifying some of those hidden connections. I'm going to give some specific action steps that you can take. I'm going to give some of the latest research on why some people are more susceptible than other people, and so much more. So let me know if you drop a yes in the comments if you would like more details about the presentation. It's also posted right there in the comments. And even if you can't make it, I hope that today you've received some information that gives you a new way to look at chronic health challenges. And if you're asking the question of why just can't I seem to get well, there might be a deeper underlying root there that we need to figure out. Remember, your symptoms are real. There are scientific explanations for what's going on. It's not just in your head, and you're not imagining things. And I want to leave you with this. there is hope for healing. You can live your best life. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll be back together. Hopefully you can join me Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Time.